Hello, I'm waiting for some people to come in, and I am hoping that we're going to get a good stream. I just have some updates about some of the cases that we have been watching. I have some stuff about the Moab girls, an update. I have a bit of an update, the Brian Laundry case, and also the missing 4-year-old Cleo. So we want to get a few people in here. Please say hello. My name is TJ, if you haven't been here before, and I'm just wanting to do some updates on the cases that we've been covering. So as you can see on screen, from abc4.com, we have an update from or about the Moab girls. So I've got a little video. Hi, Starla. Welcome. I'm going to play a little video for 3 minutes, and then we'll read the article, and have a bit of a talk. So please let me know if you can hear this.
Yeah, his daughter and her partner, Crystal Turner, were murdered in mid-August, and the case remains unsolved. ABC4 senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz joins us live in studio with tonight's Justice Files. Hi, Marcos.
Sean Paul Shelty is turning to social media.
Can you hear it, guys?
Solve his daughter's murder. He sought work in the Gabby Petito case and also the Daybell case in Idaho. Now, he and his investigator are hoping to use the same social media tools to find a killer.
This is where Crystal and Kylan camped, and the creepy dude was most likely right there.
Kylie Shelty and Crystal Turner spend their final hours near this campsite before they're brutally murdered. The couple are recently married and camping something they have in common. A private investigator and Shelty's father are now using social media to help find clues that may lead to the killer. Specifically, her father says they're reaching out to campers who are in the area in mid-August.
We'd like to get the news bounced back to them so that they know what happened while they were here, so that they can go back and check their dash cam and see if anybody picked up a car or a vehicle coming on or off of County Road 4651, which is right where the girls were killed.
The request is similar to what happens in the Gabby Petito case. A camper reviews dash cam video and sees her van in the Grand Tetons. It's a factor that leads to her body. Petito and her boyfriend, Brian Landry, actually camp in the Moab area about the same time, but the Grand County Sheriff's Office determines the murders are not connected.
Well, we know they have ballistics. I don't know if they have fingerprints or DNA or what, but they have some way of ruling out Brian Laundry. They have some way of ruling out these people's names that I have turned in.
According to a search warrant, authorities are looking for a creepy man that approaches the women at their campsite.
The girls saw him camp there, so we know he was camped too close to them. This guy didn't give him space. He crowded him, and that creeped him out.
Unfortunately, Shelty says the campsites are open to anyone, and there's no reservations required. He also says the campsites are isolated from others. In addition to the search for dash cam video, Shelty's private investigator is seeking satellite imagery in hopes of seeing something.
Maybe we could get a license plate or at least a clearer view of the vehicle so law enforcement may have some suspects in mind, know what they drive, and be able to pinpoint who they're looking for.
All this takes time, and Shelty knows that.
1 day is too long for me. 1 day is too long. It's torture for our family, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Now, authorities in Grand County are saying very little about this case. A new search warrant shows that they are requesting data from a local cell tower. They actually want to know who was making calls in that area on the day the two women were murdered. Now, if you have something to offer, visit our website, abc4.com. Click on this story and follow the link. For the Justice Files, Marcos Ortiz, ABC4 News.
Well, that's very interesting. I'll actually put the link very shortly into the description box below in case anyone does have some information. We need this solved too. We need this case solved for these girls. It's just terrible. Let's read this. Warrant seeks new information in Moab double homicide of Kylan and Crystal. Over 2 months ago, the bodies of Kylan and Crystal were found at a campsite near Moab. Hey, Jenna. Since then, authorities have been investigating to determine what happened and who is responsible. A newly released affidavit for a search warrant may offer insight into what is happening in the investigation. I hope I can get a copy of that affidavit. That would be cool. So the two girls were last seen on the night of Friday, August 13, at a bar in Moab. Days later, the girls were found dead at a campsite near Moab. In early September, a warrant detailing what officers found when they arrived at the campsite 6 days later offered new insight into the case. Among the new details were how the girls were found in a nearby creek with multiple gunshot wounds. Oh, poor things. Later that month, the Grand County Sheriff's Office determined Brian Laundrie, the boyfriend of Gabby Petito, was not connected to the double homicide, despite many believing there may be a connection. A private investigator recently said he couldn't rule out the connection. Okay, so they're telling you two different things here. The Sheriff's Office is saying there is no connection, and then a private investigator said he couldn't rule out the connection. But I don't see the connection whatsoever. I do not think this had anything to do with Brian Laundrie. That's my opinion. So the two girls we know had mentioned to Dad that a creeper dude had caused them to move their camp before the deaths. A creeper dude. Would you describe Brian Laundrie as a creeper dude? I think he's weird, but I don't know if he's a creeper. Now, a recently released affidavit for a search warrant shines a light on an otherwise quiet investigation. You think the same thing, Jenna? The affidavit obtained by ABC4 was signed on September 20 and executed on the same day. In it, investigators request a tower dump from a cell tower at Jimmy King Flats, not far from the campsite of the girls, from 9 p.m. on August 13 through 9 a.m. on Sunday, August 15. Additionally, the affidavit states this could be limited to those phones that are only within 2 miles of the crime scene. According to investigators, a single Samsung cell phone was found at the crime scene and is currently considered evidence. It is unclear who the phone belongs to. So that's the first time I've heard about this phone. I just can't even remember. I think it was you, Donna, that told me today in the comments. And I think it was you, darling. Jenna said he's odd. Yes, he is odd. He was odd. Anna says, yeah, he's creepy if it was dark. Yeah, yep, I get you. The affidavit goes on to state that the information is evidence of the crime or crimes of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, tampering with evidence, sexual assault, desecration of a corpse, rape. I'm not going to be monetized for this video after all that. It's just terrible, terrible. It is currently unclear what, if anything, was found when the search warrant was executed after being signed by a judge. Schultz's father, Sean Paul, recently spoke with ABC4 about the case. He said, "We'd like to get the news bounced back to them so that they know what happened while they were here. That way they can go back and check their dash cam and see if anybody picked up a car or vehicle coming on or off County Road 4651, which is right where the girls were killed." So good time to remind people to please give this a like, subscribe if you haven't, and share, because we need people to be looking in their dash cams and everything to see if they have any information that could help. He says they are reaching out to campers who were near the LaSalle Loop Road near Moab from August 11th to August 19. In addition to searching for dash cam video, His private investigator is also seeking satellite imagery in hopes of seeing something. I don't know much about satellite imagery, whether what that would show. Yeah, that's new to me. For more, so multiple rewards are being offered. For information in the double homicide investigation, authorities ask that you don't leave pertinent tips on social media. Interesting. If you have info to assist in this case, you are encouraged to call Grand County Sheriff's Office 435-259-8115. If you do not get an answer, leave a detailed message and an investigator will call you back. So please, if you have any information or any dash cam around that time, please come forward and let the cops know. We need to get some justice for these two girls. They've been a bit lost, I think, and a little bit forgotten while people have been concentrating on the Brian Laundrie case and what's happening with him and his family and everything that comes out. The Northport police who have been not so good. These girls have been forgotten, and yeah, that's really, really sad. Thanks, Starlight. Yeah, I pray that someone comes forward and helps these girls and we can find some answers for them. It's very, very sad. Hey, Anna. Oh, my God. I've just seen that and I just put it up. Don't worry about me. All right. So I also wanted to go ahead and do an update on the missing 4-year-old Cleo Smith, who is missing in Australia. And if you don't know my channel, I just released a video about this case on my channel. So please watch that. But let's look at this update. This is from abc.net.au. Missing girl Cleo Smith's family home visited by forensic police again as search enters 12th day. So they have already gone to the Smith home in Carnarvon and they were looking outside the property to see if there was any clues that would suggest that someone was stalking the family, to explain maybe who might have took Cleo. I understand they found no evidence whatsoever on that search. So let's read about this one. And I'm trying not to cry because I genuinely feel so bad for this family. Just before I read it, I want to reiterate that there is no evidence that the family has anything to do with the disappearance of this young girl. The police have stated that over and over and over, and I don't want to hear comments blaming the parents. Okay. West Australian forensic police have returned to the home of a missing 4-year-old child as the massive search for her suspected abductor enters its 12th day. 12th day, guys. Cleo Smith was last seen in the early hours of Saturday, October 16th in her family tent at a beachside campground in Western Australia's Midwest known as Blowholes. Her mother says Cleo woke up at 1:30 a.m. asking for a glass of water, but by 6 a.m. she was gone. And one of the things that we know is her sleeping bag was gone with her, and the zipper on the tent was far too high for her to have unzipped it herself, because she's only a wee girl. She's only 4. Just a baby. Jenna, those poor parents, yeah, I know, right? On Saturday, 1 week after her disappearance, police swept the family home in Carnarvon for fingerprints. Forensics officers returned to the home on Tuesday. There is no suggestion her family were involved with her disappearance. And in the video, you will see that I read an article where the police were calling out social media for the vile comments that the parents were getting in the accusations. And that's why they keep reiterating that there is no suggestion her family were involved with her disappearance. Family hoping for clues. The detective leading the investigation, Superintendent Rod Wild, said searching the house was just part of the process with a major investigation like this one. Cleo's mum, Ellie, told Channel 7's Flashpoint this week the family had not returned to their home since they lost their daughter. She said she still hoped police would find something to help at the house. Anything, she said. If it's someone that's been watching for who knows how long, hopefully they pick something up that will help. Superintendent Wild earlier this week moved to reassure the community of Carnarvon. He said there's no indication that the family or Cleo was stalked in the days beforehand. Forensic investigators arrived at the home shortly after midday on Tuesday and were led in by Jake, that's the mum's partner. The police forensics team remained at the house until about 9:30 p.m, with the flashes of their cameras seen through the windows from the dark street outside. The couple spent several days at the Blowholes campsites last week in the hope Cleo would be found nearby, but have now returned to Carnarvon. Yeah, it's just awful, just absolutely awful. Hey, Curious, good to see you, hun. We're just doing some updates. Good to see you. But they have said they have not yet returned to the family home because it is too painful to be in that house without their daughter. Could you imagine? We've had people look after our dog. She's lost without her best friend as much as we are without her daughter, Mum said. Every parent's worst nightmare. WA Police Minister Paula Papalia on Tuesday told Parliament that every necessary resource has been directed to find Cleo. That's really good to hear. The government has assured WA Police they have full access to the resources needed, he said. This is every Western Australian parent's worst nightmare. I know we all stand with Cleo's family and our police in hoping for her safe return. Curious, I'm so frustrated I don't get notifications when you're on. That sucks. So maybe you could unsubscribe and then subscribe and then hit the notification bell all again and see if it will happen. It happens all over YouTube all the damn time. It happens to me all the time as well. So this is good. They've actually told us some distances. So Perth is down here. Obviously, we know that's a huge city. It's 968 k's to the Blowholes. WA Premier Mark McGowan was unable to confirm reports of bounty hunters heading to the area after the government offered a $1 million reward. That's interesting. We'll talk about that. I don't know how true they are, he said, but if people can find Cleo and bring her home to her family, the reward is there. So please, if you know her whereabouts, if you have any knowledge, if you have any tips, pass them on to police. Do the right thing. We all would hate to think we had some knowledge that could save the life of a little girl and we didn't pass it on. Dear me, do you want me to play the new video from the parents? It's 13 minutes long, so let me know if you're interested in that. Curious says it's the same with all the channels I sub to. Yeah, notifications, yeah, they suck. They just do their own thing. Bounty hunters. So they said that there's been rumors that bounty hunters have been heading that way because of the $1 million reward. I think the more people that are looking for her, the better. It may bring clues and it may bring more people to get to the story and more exposure. So if there's bounty hunters coming, I think that's a good thing. Very, very sad. And you know what? These people don't show the emotion that a lot of people expect that they should. And we've heard this before in other cases right across YouTube. Now, I have to tell you, and I'm not looking for sympathy, but I just want to tell you, my mum died last year of a long battle with cancer. And I am and have been devastated. It has been so hard. But I don't cry. And I don't get upset in public. In front of people, that's just my thing. Does it mean I don't care? Not at all. Does it mean I'm not devastated? Not at all. So you can't say how people are supposed to grieve and supposed to be acting. And I can see it in the mum's eyes, her lost. Yeah, I know. Let's listen to a little bit. Hopefully, if my computer does it. Oh, it's very low.
So Friday night, we came obviously to the house. We got here about 6:30. It was just before dark. We were able to put the tent up, a gazebo up, get everything ready for both the girls so then they could go to bed. We made them dinner. Cleo, she went to bed probably about 8 o'clock. A little one had dinner. She went to bed. We had dinner. We went to bed. That was about it. We went to sleep. Cleo woke up at 1:30 and wanted to drink water. I got her some water. And yeah, she went to bed. I checked on Isla, made sure Isla was okay. I got back in bed. And that was it really. We went back to sleep. Woke up to Isla wanting a bottle. As we passed the divider, I went into the other room and the zipper was open. Cleo was gone. That was about it for Saturday morning until everything started.
The zipper to the outside.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Cleo was gone, so you looked down and...
Yeah, so basically how the tent was we had Cleo was on a mattress, a little baby was in a cot right next to her. We had a divider, and then we were on a blow-up mattress as well. And yeah, she was gone. The tent was completely open. It was about 30 centimeters from being open, and I mean, I turned around to Jake and I just said, like, Claire's gone.
What happened from there?
Well, basically, like, obviously we went and, like, went looking, checking, making sure, like, you know, she wasn't around the tent. And then we got in the car, like, you know, driving around everywhere we could. We grew up here.
Just pausing for a minute, curious. Let's not talk about other YouTubers in the chat because it creates trouble sometimes. I'm going to mention YouTubers if I want because it's my stream. But yeah, can we not do that? Thanks, hon.
We literally grew up probably like 100 meters from literally where our tent was where we stayed at the same age. So we just looked everywhere that we went as kids, and we couldn't find her. And then we realized that we have to call the cops that she's not here. And then we called the cops, and then just all went into motion.
What was going through your mind at that time?
Everything. Part of me was thinking, like, you know, like, where is she? She needs breakfast. She, you know, like, what's she doing? I just everything was going through my head.
It's been 4 days now. Tell me about that. The last 4 days.
Have been horrendous. We haven't really slept. We've had so much family help us and support us, but you know, like, everyone asks us, like, what do you need, and really all we need is a little go home.
What do you think is happening to Cleo?
wish I did. No idea. There's probably a million things that I've thought of and everyone else, and as everyone tells us, they're searching every angle that we probably have thought of. I guess the worst part is like we can't do anything more. It's out of our hands, so we just feel hopeless and out of control.
Can you tell me about Cleo?
God, yeah, she's beautiful, delicate. She has like the biggest heart. She just so funny. She loves rocks. She collects rocks. She loves makeup and dressing up. She, every day wants to wear a princess dress. She's beautiful. She's so sweet. Everything that you'd want in a little girl to grow up and.
What's the information you'd like to get out there, and what would you like to ask people to do?
If you see anything,
anyone has information or sees anything, just
call the
let
cops.
you know, the cops know.
Like we get inundated with people messaging us saying like, maybe we seen her here, maybe we seen her there, and
Just report it.
report it. It's like all we can ask you to do, because we can't do anything. If you see something, report it. It doesn't matter if it's small or big, or if you're sure or not. Like, we want our little girl home, and
Just anything reported.
People have mentioned that Cleo is perhaps not the kind of child who would wander off. Just tell me about that.
she isn't. She would never. She won't leave my side if I'm walking in the shops. I mean, I live 5 minutes from the shop. She won't even walk that far. She's
Pretty lazy.
yeah, she's lazy when it comes to walking. She won't ride her bike very far because all she wants to do is just go in the bottom of our pram, and she would never leave us. She would never leave the tent. She's wearing, when she left, she was wearing a jumpsuit, and she can't go to the toilet without my help unzipping it and going, and she would come get me just like she did with her water. She would never leave that tent alone.
Do you think someone knows where Cleo is, or someone?
Someone has to. It's been 4 days. And yeah, they have to.
Do you fear someone's taking her?
We hold hope that, she's here, because if I think about her being taken, it's pretty, a million other things cross our mind. But I mean, that's why everyone else has their job, because that's what they're here to do, to find her.
Can you tell me about that message?
Everyone's doing everything they can.
Yeah.
I mean, we sit and watch it every day and all night, and
Yeah, it's going day and night. See that?
it's going, and we're just watching it happen. Like, they've been amazing updating us, but every time we get a call, we just always think like, is this our call that she's home? Is this our call that we sit and watch the sand dunes, and we just think that she's just going to run down it and like back into our arms, but we're still waiting.
How do you feel?
How I'm feeling is how I never want any mother to feel with their child.
Scared.
Terrified.
And you have a lot of support from
community's been amazing.
See you later, Donna Han.
We've got a huge
Thank you for coming.
support system with our family. We've still got people flying here.
All the community offering to help.
The community's been amazing. We've got people everywhere, and we're gonna find her. We have to.
Can you tell me a little about your family? With the four of you, you live in Canada, you on camping trips, at least you go for some of that.
Well, this was our baby's first camping trip.
For 7-month-old baby.
It was a brand new tent. First time we'd used it, so obviously we were trying to work out all the flaws that could come with it, but this was never something that we ever thought would have happened.
What do you like to do, the four of you spend time?
Go fishing,
Camping at the
camping,
beach.
beach. Claire's terrified of the water. She doesn't go into the ocean. Loves the pool, but ocean, not so much.
Sandcastles, playing the sand.
Yeah, she'll play in the
She's
sand.
learning to ride her bike without a training. So
Yeah,
we brought that up.
We brought her bike so then she could ride around basically where we all grew up. So she's going to learn, we'll keep learning to ride with no training, so she pulls and stabilizes.
And working, school.
Yeah, I work in town at the beauty salon. Jake works at
Rio.
Claire goes to school at St. Mary's.
What's giving you to the hope right now?
I know she's strong. Claire was born 8 weeks early. She was premature and she's been strong from the day she was born. So I know she can get through whatever she's going through.
Oh, bless.
Can I ask you, tell me, what does Cleo look like and what is she wearing?
She's fair skin, quite skinny, slim, honey blonde hair, hazel eyes, just beautiful. She probably wouldn't really look comfortable, or should be terrified, should be so scared.
If someone does know who Cleo isn't providing that information, what would be your message for them?
Please tell someone.
Just report it. But if it was your child and someone new didn't say something,
Any news can help.
And just lastly, so the last 4 days, you've been sort of here just waiting on any news.
yeah, we've been close by. We haven't left. Just waiting for her to come home, so we could take her home.
Is there anything we can talk about?
Wow, that was so emotional. That was just so emotional. Those poor parents. So let's catch up on some of your comments after this. I've never really thought about how vulnerable you are in a tent. It's about the only dwelling you can't lock from the inside, says Curious. Absolutely. I couldn't believe that people go camping in America because, that would scare the hell out of me. But camping in Australia, you'd think could be safe for some reason. Don't know. No camping for me anywhere. Jenna says, yeah, I never felt unsafe in a tent, but you just never know who's out there with you. That's absolutely right. But now I'm nervous, or maybe bring my dog camping too. Yeah. Just imagine a dog in a tent though. But yeah, maybe. Anna says, there's so much going on with these monsters. Little kids' clothes have changed, TikTok and Instagram. Curious, it certainly makes you stop and think about your safety. Absolutely. Anna says, here they are out camping, spending quality time. I know. Anna says, my daughter just started a new relationship in the Dells, a big water tourist park. I worry. Yeah, I would worry too. Good advice, get a dog. Yeah, that is good advice, because obviously it's not safe to camp anywhere. All right, quickly before we move on to the laundry case and we get the latest update in that, I just want to say something. I'm usually very careful not to bash other creators or speak badly of them. It's not what I do, even if I don't agree with other creators, and that's happened a lot. I'm very, very careful. I was on a live, which I think may still be going, which is Tiffany Marie's live. And I have always held different views to hers on a lot of cases, but I've also found her quite lovely and honest and friendly. I went on her panel today and I went into her live and they were talking about what's going on with the Summerwells fundraiser. Typically I wouldn't go on and say anything, but I just want transparency and honesty for all the people that donated. That's all anyone is asking for, is just transparency. Let us know where the money is, how much was raised, because a lot of people put their last money into it and, went without to do that. I think it had good intentions, and I think it was lovely that they wanted to do this for summer. I think it's lovely, but something's happened and they just need to show some transparency and honesty in the situation. That's all I'm going to say about that. And we're not going to mention it much further, and we're going to leave it there. All right. So let's go to the latest on the Brian Laundrie case. So the last couple of days after Nancy Grace, who I just don't like for some reason, just don't like, after she went on Fox News, I think it was, and did a talk about the case, and somehow, somewhere, she must have said something about the DNA had not matched in the Brian Laundrie case, and it went all over the internet so damn fast that people were saying, saying, oh my God, it's come back and it's not Brian, he's not dead, and oh my God, he is dead. Hey, Jeanette Sanchez, good to have you, hon. So let's look at this. TheGuardian.com. Brian Laundrie, initial autopsy inconclusive on cause of death, lawyer says. Inconclusive, and we'll read why. More intensive examination will be done on remains of Laundrie, who was the subject of a manhunt following the killing of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito. The initial autopsy on the remains of Brian Laundrie did not uncover a cause of death, and a more intensive examination will be done, a family lawyer said. Laundrie was the subject of a manhunt for more than a month as investigators searched for clues in the killing of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito, during a cross-country van trip. Skeletal remains found in Florida Nature Preserve were positively identified last week using dental records, according to the FBI. There was some speculation and some rumors and some shit going around that the Laundries have an uncle that's a dentist, and maybe he was the one that identified him by the teeth, and maybe there wasn't enough teeth, and who was the dentist that did this? This is the FBI. The FBI has their dentists, and they are the ones that do this. FBI is not going to do a dental record examination and say that it's Brian Laundrie if it wasn't. Okay? If it wasn't. Skeletal, Steve Bertolino, we all know him. The Laundrie's attorney said he was told by police the autopsy by the Sarasota County medical examiner did not produce concrete results. He said, I was told the manner and cause of death were not determined and the remains were sent to an anthropologist who looks at bones for further evaluation, he said. The medical examiner's office declined comment, as did the FBI, which we expect. Eventually, Laundries' remains will be cremated and no funeral is planned by the family, Bertolino said. So, no funeral. And this was another thing. People going across saying, oh my God, how can the family not have a funeral? What a horrible family. And then, oh, they must not be having a funeral because it's not Brian. Come on, guys. What do you expect will happen if these people that have been hounded and stalked and watched for their every move had a funeral for Brian? Could you imagine the protests and the awful things that would go on when they're trying to bury their son? And I'm not saying they did things right. I'm not saying that Brian did anything good. I'm just saying that we don't need a spectacle because of a funeral, Jenna. Absolutely. They need to grieve. They've lost a son. Their whole lives have been turned upside down. No information has yet been released on what investigators found in a backpack and notebook found with Laundries' remains. The body of Petito was discovered last month on the edge of Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, one of the places the young people had visited on the trip they documented through social media. An autopsy concluded Gabby died of strangulation, but it was homicide. Laundrie, 23, was listed as a person of interest, but charged only with fraudulent use of a debit card. His remains were found in a nature preserve not far from his family's home in Northport, Florida, where he and Gabby had been living. Both were from Long Island, New York. Laundrie returned home alone on September 1st from his trip with Gabby. Her body was found on the 19th of September in the Wyoming Park, and authorities say it had been there for about a month. Laundrie told his parents on 13th September he was headed to the Carlton Reserve Park in Sarasota County. That was the last publicly known contact anyone had with him. And there's a bit of dispute about the 13th of September, and if that was the date he left and what sort of way he was, well, what sort of mood he was in when he left. I'm just reading the chat. Absolutely. The Petito and Smith family must be feeling so horrible, and my heart definitely goes out to them. Absolutely. And, I don't know what justice looks like for them. Is Brian Laundrie being dead like this for a wee while out in the middle of nowhere, possibly eaten by animals or whatever? Is this justice for them? Or was justice him being caught and gone to court and told the story of what happened and why, and him going to jail to rot for the rest of his life? Would that have been justice for them? They've been very quiet, and I don't blame them. I don't blame any of the family in this situation, any of family members. It's not nice for any of them. I'm not saying anything about the Laundries being great or Brian being great. I'm just saying that their family must be finding this hard. Jenna says all this heartache because of the acts of one selfish man. Absolutely. Absolutely. He did this to his family. This wouldn't have happened. They didn't act the right way. We know that, but he started this shit. You know what I mean? So yesterday, I don't know if you guys heard, but Northport police admitted another bungle or another thing that they did not get right. And that is that they thought that Brian Laundrie was at the home because I think it was the 13th or 15th. Sorry, I'll have to look that up soon. Roberta came back in the Mustang to the home, and they mistook her for Brian. They thought that his mum, Roberta, who must be in her 50s or 60s, no shade, I just don't know how, but she must be about that old, and they mistaked her for the 23-year-old that walks like a duck with a beard and a mustache. How on earth did they mistake Roberta for Brian? The Northport police, sorry, my phone, the Northport police just keep admitting things they have done wrong. And it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look professional. Yeah. Then yesterday or the day before, the Laundries went to Orlando and they did some stuff and hung out with Cassie, their daughter, and also their grandchildren. They seen going to Disney World, and the internet was going wild because they think, why should a grieving family go to Disney World? They're not allowed to. But those children deserve to see their grandparents. Cassie deserves to see her parents. They deserve to get out from the protesters from their home to grieve their son and live. They're not dead. Just saying. Jenna says, that blew my mind. Brian did not have hips either. Like how? I know, right? I don't understand how they, I mean, even his eyebrows, they're bushy as hell. He's got a lot of hair on his face. Oh dear. So I just had a look at Brian Enton's Twitter because he always has stuff going on. He said 2 hours ago, yes, the medical examiner says no DNA analysis on Brian Laundrie's remains has been performed yet. Samples will be submitted for DNA testing once the examination of the remains is complete. The remains were confirmed to be Brian's by using dental records. So, I'll read that again. Medical examiner says no DNA analysis on Brian Laundrie's remains has been performed yet. Samples will be submitted for DNA testing once the examination of the remains is complete. The remains were confirmed to be Brian by using dental records. So I'm trying to shut down rumors and speculation that are not. I mean, speculation is okay if it's fact-based or evidence-based. So I'm just trying to shut down rumors and give the facts of the case. On the rocks, hey there, good to see you. Is Northport corrupt or incompetent? I actually think they're incompetent, to be honest. I don't think that, well, for one thing, I don't think they were equipped to handle this case. But in saying that, the FBI came in to handle this case for them because it was under that. So are we saying the FBI is incompetent as well? Because they lost Brian? Yeah, I kind of am. Curious says incompetent in my opinion. Yeah, I think incompetent too. Jenna says probably both. Right? Just so many things go wrong. Laundries apparently are back at their house in Northport. I am not sure whether reporters are out there still. I would hope they would go. Do you know what I think? The Laundries have a lot of responsibility here. They have a lot of responsibility for the death of their son because maybe if they had stopped him going, I don't know. Or you know, they could have changed things. That's what I'm going to say. And the protesters, I've never really known how I felt about the protesters being at the Laundries house. We know when they went to Cassie's house, that ended up Cassie coming out after the pressure, and she told us some stuff. But I'm not sure about the protesters. In New Zealand, this wouldn't happen. We would not expect a family to say anything about a case. And if they chose to didn't, we wouldn't go and protest. I'm just saying. My thought is Brian went out there. He took a journal and he took a backpack because I think he may, just in my opinion, may have been going to hide out. I don't know if his first intention was to kill himself. But because of the protesters outside his house, he knew that he could not come back to the house. He had nowhere to go. He could not go back because of the protesters. And I think maybe he killed himself then. That's just my opinion. Tell me how you guys feel. Curious says, seeing the demeanor of Josh Taylor from the start in an interview a few days ago, it's like he's a different person, but ups to him for fronting up. Yeah, he did better in the latest interviews, that's for sure. On the rocks, they could have been more proactive. Yeah, they've made some mistakes, that's for sure. Jenna, they should have told him to go to the police after arriving home. Yes, but we know, Bertolino, oh, good Bert, he has said in his interviews with Ashley Banfield that he told them to be quiet. He told them not to go to the police. He told them not to talk to anyone. It was his instructions given. And maybe they were just listening to the lawyer. Anna says, I've never seen anything like it. Nope. No one's ever seen anything like this case. Social media has had its place in this. Gabby wouldn't have been found if social media wasn't involved. But I don't think they're always good. I don't think all social media is always good. Anna, I think a snake got him. Who knows? I don't know what sort of creatures over there. We don't have many bad creatures here. But I don't know what, alligators, that's been said, wild boars, that's been said, snakes are there. So who knows? I hope that they can find a cause of death. It would just be interesting to know. But we may not know. We may not find out, and we may not find out what's in the journals because the FBI might not actually release the information. Jenna says, oh yeah, good old Steve, bad advice. Yeah, exactly. Curious, the dirty attorney has a lot to answer for. He admitted that it was his advice to the Laundries to shut up and not say anything. Hey, Tara, good to see you. So, I don't know. As a family, would we have, if it happened to me, would I have gone to the police? Would I have listened to the attorney? You know, I would like to say that I would go to the police with the attorney. Yeah. Hey, all, good evening. Good to see you. Big boas. Yuck. On the rocks, if it was my son and he was distraught, lawyer be damned, save his life. Absolutely. And the thing is, the lawyer, old Bert, said a couple of different things in a couple of different interviews, and that's what makes him look stupid, in my opinion. Because in one, he said Brian was just going out. He was fine. Said he was just going out to, blow some steam off and chill out and get some clarity and all that thing. So they didn't have to worry about him because he does that regularly. And yeah. Then old Bert says that he was grieving when he left the house and he was upset and distraught. Did they ask why he was upset and distraught and grieving, by the way? Tara, yes. Well, we just did an update, but no, they haven't found it. I've just been, again, searching the house to see if there's anything there. So Bert is making things so much worse, I think. I don't think he is competent, and is knowledgeable and has enough presence to speak like he has been on this case. I think a criminal attorney would have been better for them, but then a criminal attorney would have said to shut up as well. So who knows? Just blows my mind. Do they have a suspect? In Cleo's case, no, unfortunately, they don't. You might have to rewind the stream later, but we did show a clip of the parents talking again, which was quite heartbreaking. New Zealand Mysteries hugs. I lost my mum too. My boyfriend, I hate living with. Oh, my best friend, I hate living without her. She never taught me how to live without her. Oh, darling, sending prayers to you. Yeah, it's tough. Tough losing your mum. I know how you feel. I'm just not a person that likes to grieve or show my emotion in public. Yeah. And a lot of people are like that. And it says, I've never seen someone not go get questioned, even with a lawyer. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Every day, it's like I wake up and I'm like, okay, what's new? What's new today in the Brian Laundrie case? There's always something. Tara says, I cry. Oh, bless you. My heart goes out to you, Tara. That's absolutely awful. And I understand how you feel. It's not nice. I don't know if I've got anything else to add. As soon as this ends, I'm going to put all the things, all the links, I should say all the links to what we've talked about in the description box of this. So if you want to go have a look more yourself, you can do that. I probably won't come back on today. I actually have shit to do. I am getting new tattoo tomorrow and I haven't even picked a proper design. So I really need to do that. Got a bit of housework to do. Not that I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, who knows? But you'll probably see me on YouTube somewhere. Commenting somewhere. But I want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate you guys. You know, I have been struggling thinking about if I want to continue with YouTube because it's quite hard to get into YouTube and to sort of break into it, if you know what I mean. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. The videos take a lot of work, the research. And I just wonder if I'm doing any good. That's what I wonder, because I don't do this for anything but trying to get information out. I do the videos because I want justice for families. And I just hope that I'm reaching enough people to get the message out, I guess. So please, on the rocks, my mum's terminal now, hard. Oh, my heart goes out to you. Absolutely. That's terrible. I'm so sorry, Michael. I'm just going to, curious, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you very much. If you do that, I appreciate it. Thank you, Starlight, for coming. I appreciate that too. You sure it's fabulous. Thank you so much, Tara. I appreciate that. Yes, you are. I appreciate those kind words, guys. That's nice. It's nice to know that people think I am going in the right direction. Yeah, I like that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You're welcome, Starlight. That's why you started Justice. That's why I started Justice. Justice. I can't stand it. Keep it, TJ. It will come. People can watch after. Thanks, Curious. So for those who don't know, I have an awesome Facebook page that is New Zealand Mysteries. We've got about 9 grand people on there. And on there, I have a great team that share those videos around and share the stories around to get it seen by as much people as possible. So that's awesome. Hey, little Pookie. It's good to see you. I'm going to stay on now 10 minutes longer because Pookie just showed up. Hey, Pookie, it's good to see you. I was actually just Pookie, we've done a bit of a update show. We did some updates on the Moab murders. We've done some updates on the little lady missing and Brian. So we've done a few. Little Pookie. How did I miss this? Hi, everyone. Hey, Annie. Good to see you. It's good to see you guys too. Do you guys, Annie and Pookie, do you guys get notifications when I'm on? Or do you just see me live and pop in? Oh, thank you, little Pookie. I appreciate that. That is so cool. Jenna, any updates on the Houston case? Now, that was the case of the kids, wasn't it? I'll have a look, eh? Kids left alone. I don't know. Alone in Houston. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a couple of updates. Let's have a look. Yeah, that sucks, Annie. I'm in the South, so I'm not in the lockdown like you, but I can't imagine how bad it is for you and how frustrating. So thank you for the rest of the country. All right, let's look at this. This is from khou.com. Neighbour who helped teen found abandoned with young siblings had no idea they were assaulting. So Erica Chapman said that I love him and I would take him and his brothers and that he needs to keep his head up. This ain't his fault. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Curious Kiwi says, if anyone wants to add me on Facebook, I'm Sandra Malcolm. I think we need to work out a way to find out when TJ is on lives. Yeah, just before we watch this, I know it is hard because I don't usually plan a live, just because I have so many medical issues and I have work and I pick up shifts as a casual. I don't know when I'm working. I don't know when I feel well. So I don't usually plan them. I just usually see information that needs to go out and I need to tell the world the updates and then I get on. So maybe I should try and do more planning and that might help you guys. Thanks, Tara. Yep, we did. We're not having it for 18 months. Are you talking about the lockdown? Oh my God, Pookie, what did you just do? Have you guys seen this? Pookie, that's the most someone has ever given me on a super chat. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I'm a bit humbled, actually. That's so nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. All right. So let's just have a quick listen to this video.
Disturbing story out of West Harris County. 3 children found abandoned and living alongside the skeletal remains of another child, likely their dead sibling. Evening to you, I'm Mia Gradney.
And I'm Lynn Cannon. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says he has never encountered a case like this. 3 boys, ages 15, 7, and 10, living in an apartment along with skeletal remains.
Authorities now trying to ID those remains, but they believe it is the boy's 9-year-old brother. The children were living at an apartment complex located on Greencrest Drive at West Park Drive. Zach Talatari is live there tonight. Zach?
Mia and
Len, I spoke to a neighbor named Erica Chapman. She described a living situation where she thought something might be a little off, but the 15-year-old boy she knew, she didn't want him to go hungry. But she had no idea what was going on behind that apartment door. A children's playground.
He was sleeping on the side.
Chapman says she first met the 15-year-old boy who we're told called 911, claiming he and his siblings had been living with the remains of their brother in the room next to his.
And I asked him if he was hungry, and he said, yeah, and I brought him out some food and some drinks.
Harris County deputies discovered that 15-year-old boy along with a 7- and 10-year-old boy, and tragically, the remains of another young child.
Honestly, I'm disgusted. If I knew something was wrong with any of those kids, I would have took all of them.
According to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the mother of the boys and her boyfriend were brought in for questioning but released. Child Protective Services sent us this statement that says, in part, the agency is seeking emergency custody of the 3 boys.
Oh, he wouldn't talk about his parents.
Erica says she didn't want to push the boy too hard with questions, hoping he would open up to her.
Because I did not want him not to come to me for food. If you're that hungry, I want him to keep coming to me. At least I know he was eating.
She says she has a message for that 15-year-old boy.
That I love him and I would take him and his brothers.
Done.
And that he needs to keep his head up. This ain't his fault.
Now, the Harris County Sheriff's Department says that they're looking for more information. The medical examiner's finding will be an important part of that. Mia?
So many questions needing answers.
Wow. This is a case, right? This is crazy. Before I read the article, let me see what.
And thank you for being with.
Oh, stop. Hang on. Stop. I'm trying to stop it. Just hold the phone. Annie says, awful stories. Some people just shouldn't be parents. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tara, I just can't get this. I can't get this either. This case just blows my mind. Curious, oh my God, I haven't heard of the case yet. I think it was yesterday that I mentioned it in my live for the first time. No school was looking for these kids, school, anything. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday. Why wasn't someone seeing this? This neighbor sounds great, though, that she was trying to help, but why wasn't anyone asking questions about this? This doesn't make sense. Little Pookie says, were they homeschooled? That information hasn't come out, so we just don't know. And he says, interesting, 15-year-old boy wouldn't accept any food from neighbours that wasn't packaged, scared of poisoning. Well, I mean, obviously these kids are going to be traumatised and scared. And, I mean, God, they trusted their parents and look what happened. So, you know, are they going to trust someone else? And he says they were living on their own for 6 months. Right. Yep. But the 9-year-old brother's remains were there for a year. So, well, that's interesting. We have to wait for more information to come out. It's crazy. Curie says, that's so weird. Sadie is so hungry, but still thought about it. I don't know. Okay, let's look at this interview. A woman who lives near the 3 children found abandoned in their Houston area apartment said she had no idea what was going on behind the closed door. The boys were living alone with the skeletal remains of their 9-year-old brother. Erica Chapman said, I'm disgusted. If I knew something was wrong with any of those kids, I would have took them. The oldest child, a 15-year-old boy, called 911 on Sunday and said he and his 2 younger siblings, aged 10 and 7, had been living alone for months. He said his 9-year-old brother died about a year earlier and his remains were still inside their West Harris County apartment. Chapman told us she helped the teen after seeing him sleeping on a playground slide. I asked him if he was hungry. He said, yeah, and I bought him out some food and some drinks, she said. She asked him a few questions, but said he didn't tell her much. She suspected something was off, but didn't want to push the team because she was hoping he would open up to her. Well, you know, good on her. Good on her. She said he wouldn't talk about his parents. I did not want him not come to me for food. If you're that hungry, I want him to come to me because I at least knew he was eating. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez confirmed the skeletal remains of a child were found in the apartment. An autopsy will be performed to determine how the boy died. The sheriff said the boy's mother and boyfriend were questioned but released without charges. What the if? What the if? They're released with no charges. Okay. Let's keep going. Investigators aren't saying who had custody of the boys and haven't explained how no one at the apartment knew anything was wrong. Their investigation continues. CPS is seeking emergency custody of all three siblings. They said there was no prior investigation of the family. Meanwhile, Chapman has a message for the 15-year-old. Is that I love him and I would take him and his brothers and that he needs to keep his head up. That's really, really nice. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. Hi, Marion. Good to see you. I don't understand why the neighbours were gracious about feeding this child, but what was the neighbour's reason for not calling a police officer? From what I understand, I don't think she knew about what was happening in the apartment. She saw the 15-year-old, a teenager, on a sleeping on a slide, and she gave him some food and didn't push him to say anything. And I think that is the right thing to do in that respect. There's no information that she knew what was going on inside. Oh dear. Tara, they had no lights either. Neighbours let them charge phones. I'm not sure of that because I haven't read that. And he says today they've called the child's death a homicide. Right, I might just go and look if we can get anything that... Okay, I found something that was just 3 hours ago, so we'll go and have a look at that. Just give my computer 5 minutes to load it. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And you know what? Why isn't more people on YouTube showing this story? This is crazy. Oh, come on, computer. It's just doing the funky chicken again. So give me 5 minutes. Hopefully not. Tara says, how were they released? They are worse than Josh Taylor. Okay. So I'm going to put this, it's still on screen. Oh my God, I'm going to put it back. Okay. So this was 3 hours ago. TheDailyBeast.com. Kids left alone in Houston House of Horrors texted mum before calling 911. Oh my God. A foul odor, a child sleeping in a playground, and truancy should have tipped someone off to the abandoned siblings living with their young brother's remains. This is all the stuff that we've just been talking about, guys. Let's see. One of the three children kept in a deplorable home in Houston with a decaying body and no adults texted his mum to say he couldn't take it anymore before calling 911 on Sunday, according to reports. Oh my God. Oh my God. ABC 13 reported that the 15-year-old boy texted his mum, who lived just 15 minutes away, before blowing the lid on the shocking House of Horrors. So mum lived 15 minutes away? Say what? When police arrived at the home, they found three siblings who range in age from 7 to 15 and the skeletal remains of a 9-year-old who had died as long as a year ago. On Tuesday, the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office announced the 9-year-old suffered multiple blunt force injuries and his death had been ruled a homicide. 2 of the 3 boys who survived were deemed malnourished. Oh my God. As Houston police investigate, one thing is becoming clear. Warning signs were missed. The siblings had not been enrolled in school since May 2020. A neighbour found the older boy sleeping in a playground. Another neighbour complained about the persistent foul odour coming from that apartment. In the end, it was the teen who had been caring for the 3 younger kids in the absence of any adults who summoned police to the home over the weekend. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez called it the most shocking scenario he had never seen in all his years in law enforcement. Police located the boy's mother and her boyfriend and questioned the pair, but then released them. Authorities have not explained why the kids were alone, how they survived on their own, how one of them died, or how no one noticed what was happening. In Texas, the first line of defense has always been teachers after our parents and family. Dr. Bob Sanborn of child advocacy group Children at Risk told Fox 26, these kids fell through the cracks in terms of identifying the problem. Beyond the kids vanishing from the school system during the pandemic, there were other red flags. The woman who lived next door to the children's unit told ABC 13 that the smell coming from the apartment was so vile, she could not turn on her air conditioning, and she complained to the management office more than once. The managers have declined to comment. Another local resident, Eric Chapman, told KHOU that she spoke to the oldest child after seeing him asleep on a playground slide. She said, I asked him if he was hungry. He said, yeah, and I brought him out some food and some drinks. He wouldn't talk about his parents, and I did not want him to not come to me for food. So that's why she didn't push. Chapman said she was disgusted by what she later learned. She said, if I knew something was wrong with any of those kids, I would have took all of them. Night, Pam. Thank you so much for coming, hun. Local Child Protective Services officials took custody of the 3 remaining siblings, but has not explained how it did not know they were endangered for so long. Child Protective Services does have a history with the family, but there was no active CPS investigation at the time the children were discovered alone in their apartment, CPS said in a statement. Wow. Oh my God. That is one of the most disgusting stories I have ever heard. I am actually horrified too, Jenna. This is not right. We don't know what those kids have seen, what they have been through. This is trauma that is going to stay with these kids for the rest of their life. Good night, Pam, darling. We love you so much. These on the rocks makes me so sad and furious, right? It does. It makes me sad and furious. It's disgusting. I am in disbelief. So I truly hope that they're going to lay charges very, very soon. I'll keep looking. But surely they have got to lay charges. There are so many charges. Neglect, homicide, assault, neglect again. I don't know. Just so many charges that could be put on this mother. Annie says they were probably too scared to say anything in case they were next. Yeah, probably. And that's horrible. Not just having your 9-year-old brother dead in the next room. Absolutely disgusting. And I really hope that they get charged and that soon. It's just not right. Hopefully an autopsy will be performed. Haven't they done that though? Like, isn't that how we got this information, or it doesn't say that an autopsy was done? The fact that they text their mum, I don't know. I don't know. Little Pookie, bet they were taught not to trust strangers. Well, they couldn't even trust their parents to keep them safe, could they? So how the hell are they going to trust anyone else? Major trust issues. That's just the beginning of what they're going to have for the rest of their life. And he says she doesn't even deserve to be called mother. Absolutely. Absolutely. She does not deserve it. Someone said declared homicide. Absolutely. Oh, we just read that, Tara, that the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office announced the 9-year-old suffered multiple blunt force injuries and his death has been ruled a homicide. So he must have done an autopsy to know that information. Curious. So they had to be in contact with the mother. Well, it just said that she wasn't living there. She was living in another home. And yeah, he texted and said he's had enough. So they must have been in touch with the mum, or the egg donor, I should say, because, yeah, like Annie said, she doesn't deserve to be called a mum. And he says, yes, I just saw it. It was called a homicide today. Yeah, they did act fast, didn't they? Do you think one of the kids did it? Well, there's no information is there to what happened, but we can't think like that. I mean, the parents abandoned these kids. Shocking. Shocking that they released her. What the I thought that Texas had really hard laws and really tough laws. And the fact that they didn't charge the mum and let her go after questioning just boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. They should not have let her go without charging her with something. Tara says they do. Texas has hard laws. On the rocks, still parents' responsibility. Yeah. Gina said there are a lot of stereotypes about Texas. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cowboys, guns, and harsh laws. That's what I think of Texas. Yeah. Okay, guys, I am going to go. I'm starting to get to the point where I can't say words properly, and that's not great. But thank you so much, Little Pookie. Thank you for your donation. You just don't know how much it means to me, and it sort of gives me a bit of a boost. You guys give me a bit of a boost, knowing that people are interested in listening to me waffle. You do appreciate the content that I do bring and let you know, and appreciate that. That's fantastic. Jenna says we all ride horses. And yeah, Texans ride horses. All right, guys, have a good one. Thank you so much. I'll maybe on not tomorrow because I'm getting a new tattoo, but we'll see how I feel and how much pain I'm in. But I appreciate you all. Please just give us a like. I appreciate that too. All right, guys, have a good one. See you soon.